Hey everyone, Ray at North Star Knife Reviews. How y'all doing today? So I've got a knife here that I've had for a little while, and I was gonna do a review of it at some point, and then Tim over at Tim's School of Fish reviewed this knife yesterday, and so I thought, well, I should get mine out because although I agree with him on a lot of things, I am a little more critical of the handle than he is. I do agree with him that this is a nice knife overall. I just am not as fond of the handle. Anyway, this is the Watchman WF201, and now I like Watchman knives in general. Watchman and Brother are connected. Brother makes some really nice folders. I'm not sure the exact relationship between them. I think Watchman owns Brother, but they might both be just different labels of a different company. I don't know for sure. Brother Brother tend to have a little bit of better fit and finish in general than the Watchman, particularly on the folders. The folders, the Watchman, are more in line with Rough Rider, whereas the Brother are more like the Rough Rider Reserve, I suppose. But for the fixed blades, I don't generally see any fit and finish issues on either of them. But let me start out by saying I do like this knife. I just think I would have designed it a little bit differently. First, let's take a look at the sheath. Pretty basic sheath, relatively thin leather. But again, this knife was in the vicinity of $25, a little more, a little less, depending where you buy it. Decent price, quite honestly. But, not a bad sheath. Just would like to see a little thicker leather, but for the price, I'm not going to complain about this too much. And then here is the knife. You can see you've got the Watchman logo, and then it is made out of D2. And I've not seen anything suggesting that Watchman does not use the steel that they say, so I have full confidence that this is actually D2. The blade on here, you can take a look at. We've got, here, let's line it up here. The blade itself is about 3/8 of an inch. The cutting edge, if we pull it back to here, is right at about 3 inches. Okay, it is a fairly tall knife. You are looking at a bit over an inch, probably 1.125 to 1.25 inches for the height of the blade, and reasonably thick blade stock. So you've got these orange liners here and the G10 handle, nicely done. You've got the torque screws holding it together, and you do have a little lanyard hole down here. Nice blade, I think, came pretty sharp out of the box. The only thing, as I say, I have an issue with is the handle, and it's primarily the length of the handle. If this were a little smaller, lighter weight blade, I wouldn't mind it as much. But this is a relatively heavy knife for its size because you've got a relatively thick blade stock and a pretty tall blade. And to me, it's just a little off balance. And the thing is, the handle is heavy because it's thick, but I'd rather see it a little thinner and a little longer. I would love it to, if this had an extra 1/2 inch on the handle, I'd be much happier. Right now, I can get 3 fingers on it, and this 4th finger, just because of the way this is shaped as well, it just slips off. I would put a lanyard on here, make it a little bit better, I think. And, if this was more like a bird and trout style knife, I wouldn't mind the short handle quite so much. But the handle is thick for its length. I just feel like it's out of proportion a little bit. The other thing I wish is that the handle was a little more neutral. Now, it's not horrible, but you've got this finger control here that just barely fits my finger. And I have large hands, but not huge. If you have really big hands, I don't think you're going to be happy with this finger control because you're not going to be able to fit your finger in there. In general, I prefer a more neutral handle because you can hold it, no matter your hand size. Now, all in all, I do think that this is a good knife. I like it. I will probably carry it, but I'm not going to carry it nearly as much as I would if it had a better handle on here. better in my opinion. And by better, I mean a little thinner, a little longer, and a little more neutral. So anyway, all in all, good knife for the money. Nice D2 blade. It's going to hold an edge pretty well, be relatively corrosion resistant. Maybe if you live on the Gulf Coast or something like Tim does, you might have a little bit of issue with some rusting. But in general, D2, in most of the country, I've never, you're probably not going to have a problem with it. So all in all, worth the money, but a little bit of a flawed handle in my view. So there you go. You guys all have a great day. I will catch you next time.